Ever feel like some companies just have a knack for hitting it out of the park consistently? Like, what's their secret?
Yeah.
You asked for the inside scoop on Jim Collins's Good to Great.
Okay.
And let me tell you, this book is packed with eye-opening insights into that very question. We're diving deep into companies like Walgreens, before they were on every corner,
Right, yeah.
to uncover how they transformed from good to truly great.
What's captivating about Collins's approach is that he throws out those flashy overnight success stories. This book is built on years of rigorous research, comparing companies that made the leap to those that plateaued.
Fascinating.
And the findings, they're full of curveballs, challenging common business assumptions.
Like the assumption that great companies are just luckier,
Yeah.
being in the right place at the right time.
It's a common misconception. We often hear leaders crediting luck for their successes or blaming bad luck for their shortcomings.
Oh, absolutely.
But Collins found something fascinating. The leaders of those good to great companies, they often attributed their success to luck,
Huh.
while their less successful counterparts pointed fingers at misfortune.
Interesting. So it's not about denying the role of luck,
Right.
but more about how you perceive it.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from self-promotion to recognizing the contributions of your team and external factors. Collins calls this the window and the mirror concept.
Okay.
When things go wrong, these leaders look in the mirror, taking responsibility. But when things go well, they look out the window, recognizing the efforts of others, acknowledging the role of external circumstances.
I see. Okay. I'm starting to see how this ties into the idea of what Collins calls level 5 leadership.
Yes,
It's not about being the loudest person in the room, is it?
not at all. Imagine someone like Abraham Lincoln, a leader driven by a deep sense of purpose,
Yeah.
not ego.
Right.
That's the essence of a level 5 leader. They possess this unique blend of personal humility and unwavering professional will. Think less about flashy CEOs
Yeah.
and more about those who are laser-focused on building something lasting.
So let's look at me and more look at what we accomplished together.
You've got it. These leaders are obsessed with building a team of the right people, even if it means making tough decisions.
Tough decisions. Like
Yeah.
what?
We're talking about making bold moves, like selling off parts of the business that seem profitable, or even letting go of long-time employees if they don't align with the company's future direction.
Hold on. Selling off profitable parts of the business, that sounds counterintuitive. Why would anyone do that?
It's about having the discipline to make decisions based on long-term vision, not short-term gains.
Yeah.
Take Kroger, for example. Remember when they were just your average grocery store facing a changing market? Consumers were looking for more than just groceries. They wanted a one-stop shop.
Right.
Kroger recognized their old model was becoming outdated.
Uh-huh.
So they confronted that uncomfortable reality head on.
I'm guessing they didn't just keep chugging along, hoping for the best.
Not at all. They took a hard look at their business and made the difficult decision to completely reinvent themselves. They sold off or shut down anything that didn't fit this new vision, even if it meant taking a temporary hit.
And their competitor, A&P, who we mentioned earlier, didn't quite adapt the same way.
A&P is a classic cautionary tale. They saw the changes happening in the market, but instead of adapting, they clung to their past success, ultimately fading into obscurity. They even had a glimpse of the future with the Golden Key, their experimental store.
Didn't that store actually do pretty well?
It did. Customers loved it.
Yeah.
But A&P's leadership couldn't stomach the implications of what they were seeing, the death of their old model.
Wow.
So they closed it down.
Talk about a missed opportunity. They literally had the answer right in front of them.
It's a stark reminder that gathering information isn't enough. You have to be willing to act on it, even when it challenges your deepest beliefs.
It makes you wonder, are we so busy celebrating hero CEOs that we're missing the real ingredients of building a great company?
It's a question worth pondering. Maybe the true legacy of a level 5 leader is a company that flourishes long after they're gone, without anyone realizing who laid the foundation.
That's right. We were talking about how these companies, these good to great companies, are built on a foundation of talented people and tough decisions.
Yeah.
And this unwavering commitment to facing reality.
Right.
It's not just about riding the waves of change. It's
Yeah.
about becoming a force of nature in the business world.
And a big part of that is understanding that building a great company isn't about amassing a group of superstars, but rather about finding the right people who resonate with the company's core values and then empowering them to excel.
It's like assembling a championship sports team. You need players who not only have the skills,
Right.
but also The heart, the dedication, the willingness to put the team above individual glory.
Absolutely.
You need players who believe in the coach's vision and are ready to give their all on the field.
Exactly. And just like a great coach recognizes the unique strengths of each player,
Right.
these good to great companies excel at identifying the inherent talents within their teams and then strategically positioning them for maximum impact.
So it's not just about having the right people on the bus, but it's about making sure they're in the right seats, contributing where they can truly shine.
Precisely. It's about capitalizing on those individual strengths and directing them towards the biggest opportunities,
Right.
not just putting out fires.
Right.
Remember our discussion about Joe Coleman from Philip Morris?
Yeah.
He knew that to achieve greatness, he had to look beyond the immediate challenges and focus on the areas with the most significant growth potential.
Right. He saw the untapped potential of international markets, even though they represented a small fraction of their revenue at the time.
Right.
Most leaders would have balked at such a risky move.
And that's where the good to great companies distinguish themselves.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to make those bold moves, even if it means shaking things up.
Right.
Coleman took his most talented executive, George Weissman, off the lucrative domestic business and put him in charge of international lives, a seemingly insignificant part of the business at the time.
Wait, he took his top performer and assigned him to the smallest part of the company?
Yeah.
That's a gutsy move.
It was a stroke of genius.
Wow.
Coleman recognized Weissman's exceptional talent and knew that he was the perfect fit for the challenge.
Right.
And Weissman, to his credit, embraced the opportunity, leading the international division to become Philip Morris's fastest-growing segment.
That's incredible.
Mhm.
It's like handing your best batter a heavier bat and saying, show me what you can really do.
Right.
It's about trusting your team, pushing them beyond their comfort zones and watching them rise to the occasion.
It's about understanding that true leadership isn't about micromanaging every detail, but about empowering your team to achieve extraordinary results.
Right.
But it's not just about celebrating strengths.
Right.
It's also about addressing weaknesses head-on.
So how do these good to great companies handle those inevitable moments when things don't go according to plan?
Yeah.
When they face those tough decisions that require more than just putting a positive spin on things?
That's where the concept of rigorous, not ruthless, comes into play.
Okay.
It's about being honest with yourself and your team about what's working and what's not,
Right.
and then taking decisive action, always with a commitment to fairness and respect.
We saw a glimpse of that with Kroger's transformation, but
Yeah.
can you give us a more concrete example of what this rigorous, not ruthless approach looks like in action?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's revisit Wells Fargo, a company that we know has been through its share of challenges in recent years. But what's fascinating is that back when they acquired Crocker Bank, they demonstrated this principle beautifully. They were incredibly transparent with the Crocker managers, making it very clear that while their branches and their customers were valuable assets,
Yeah.
their management style might not be the best fit for the new merged entity.
So instead of sugarcoating the situation or making empty promises, they laid all the cards on the table.
They were upfront about their expectations and their commitment to maintaining a unified culture built on Wells Fargo's core values.
Right.
And while they did have to make some tough decisions, letting go of some Crocker managers who didn't align with their vision,
Right.
they also recognized talent when they saw it promoting some Crocker managers over their own people, when it became clear that those individuals were a better fit for certain roles.
It sounds like they found a balance between being decisive and being respectful,
Yes.
making those tough calls swiftly and fairly rather than dragging things out and creating unnecessary uncertainty.
Exactly. It was a masterclass in handling a delicate situation with both clarity and compassion. They understood that building a great company requires creating a culture where everyone is driving for the same goal,
Right.
and that sometimes difficult decisions are necessary to maintain that unity of purpose.
It's about being honest, being decisive, and being respectful even when it's tough.
Right.
And ultimately, it's about building a company that's greater than the sum of its parts. But before we get too caught up in the people aspect,
Yeah.
let's shift gears and talk about something equally crucial, confronting those brutal facts that often get swept under the rug. Okay, so we've talked about building a strong team, making tough decisions, and facing reality head-on, even when it's uncomfortable.
Right.
But how do we ensure that all of this leads to lasting success, not just a flash in the pan?
Yeah.
How do we avoid becoming another AMP?
Right.
A company that had greatness within reach, but let it slip through their fingers.
That's where Jim Collins introduces us to one of the most intriguing concepts in Good to Great,
Okay.
the Hedgehog concept.
The hedgehog concept. Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Okay.
where passion, expertise, and economic engine align to create an unstoppable force.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but the name hedgehog concept feels a bit out there.
Right.
What's the connection to the business world?
Well, it's based on an ancient Greek parable
Okay.
about a fox and a hedgehog.
Yeah. Okay. The fox is cunning, always chasing after new ideas and opportunities,
Right.
but never quite mastering any of them.
Okay.
The hedgehog, on the other hand, is simple and focused,
Uh-huh.
knowing one big thing, how to defend itself with its prickly spines.
So in the business world, the fox is like that company that's always chasing the latest trend,
Exactly.
trying to be everything to everyone.
They spread themselves thin,
Yes.
constantly shifting their focus and never quite achieving lasting success. The hedgehog company, however, is like a laser beam,
Okay.
focusing its energy and resources on its core area of expertise where it can truly excel.
It makes sense, but how does a company actually find its hedgehog? It's not like there's a step-by-step guide for uncovering your ultimate purpose.
You're right, it's not a simple formula,
Right.
but Collins provides a framework for this self-discovery.
He describes the hedgehog concept as the intersection of three circles. What you're deeply passionate about,
Okay.
what you can be the best in the world at,
Okay.
and what drives your economic engine.
Okay, let's break that down. Passion, that one seems pretty straightforward. It's about doing what you love, what gets you fired up in the morning.
It's more than just individual enjoyment. It's about tapping into a shared passion, something that resonates deeply within the company's culture. Think about the early days of Apple.
Right.
It wasn't just about building computers.
Yeah.
It was about challenging the status quo and empowering individuals through technology. That passion was contagious.
Right, and that brings us to the second circle, what you can be the best in the world at. Seems pretty self-explanatory, right?
It is, but this is where many companies stumble.
Yep.
They confuse what they're good at with what they could be the best in the world at.
Right.
It's about being brutally honest with yourself about where your true potential lies, even if it means letting go of some comfortable, familiar territory.
So it's not about being good at everything,
No,
but about being exceptional at one thing.
exactly. It's about finding that niche where you can truly dominate.
And the third circle, what drives your economic engine, it's about more than just making money, isn't it?
Right.
It's about understanding the heartbeat of your business.
You've got it. It's about identifying the key activities that generate the most sustainable profits, those core metrics that truly move the needle.
So the hedgehog concept is about finding that sweet spot where your passion, your expertise, and your economic engine all converge.
Precisely. It's not about forcing a perfect overlap, but rather about understanding how these three circles intersect and inform each other.
Okay.
It's about simplifying your focus,
Right.
clarifying your purpose,
Yeah.
and aligning your actions with what truly matters.
It sounds like the hedgehog concept provides a framework for making difficult decisions. When you're faced with a new opportunity, you can ask yourself, does this align with our hedgehog concept? Does it fuel our passion, leverage our expertise, and drive our economic engine? If not, it might be a distraction from your path to greatness.
That's the power of the hedgehog concept. It acts as a guiding principle, helping you stay focused on what truly matters and avoid getting sidetracked by tempting but ultimately less impactful pursuits. But finding your hedgehog is only half the battle.
Right.
You have to build a culture that can execute on that vision.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Building a culture of discipline. It sounds a little intimidating, like something out of a military handbook.
Not at all. It's not about rigidity or stifling creativity.
Yeah.
It's about creating an environment where disciplined people, disciplined thought and disciplined action become second nature.
So disciplined people, those are the folks who are intrinsically motivated,
Yeah.
always striving for excellence, right?
Exactly. They don't need constant supervision. They're driven by an inner compass that points them toward excellence.
And disciplined thought, that's about removing the emotion, looking at the facts, and making rational decisions.
Absolutely. It's about confronting those brutal facts we talked about earlier, relying on data over gut feelings, and being willing to challenge your own assumptions.
And finally, disciplined action. This is where the rubber meets the road.
It's about consistently executing on your plans, holding yourself and others accountable, and not letting setbacks derail you from your goals.
So it's about creating a culture where everyone is rowing in the same direction, all pulling toward that shared vision of greatness.
Precisely. And when you combine that culture of discipline with entrepreneurial spirit, that's where the magic truly happens. It's about having the freedom to innovate within a framework of accountability.
This has been an incredible journey through Jim Collins's Good to Great.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from the paradoxical humility of level 5 leaders to the importance of confronting uncomfortable truths to the power of finding your hedgehog and creating a culture of disciplined excellence.
There you go.
If there's one key takeaway I hope you'll walk away with, it's this.
Yeah.
Building a great company is not about stumbling upon some magical formula or getting lucky.
Right.
It's about a series of deliberate choices consistently executed over time, all guided by a deep understanding of your values, your strengths, and your ultimate purpose.
It's about having the courage to face reality,
Yes.
the wisdom to learn from both successes and failures, and the unwavering belief in your ability to achieve extraordinary things.
It's about building a company that leaves a lasting legacy.
Yes.
One that continues to thrive and make a difference long after you've moved on.
And
And that, my friend,
was the ultimate.
is the ultimate mark of greatness. Until next time, keep diving deep.